I was raised on all alternative medicine, so like at my core, I'm inwardly a massive hippie, but I just don't show it. If I wanted to use any screen, like if I wanted to watch TV or go on a computer for an hour, before I could do that, I had to do an hour of something creative. So I had to like earn my TV. It all began really with my brother giving me a CD with some drum and bass on. That was the first time I'd heard anything electronic that connected with me. It all began with this track called Vehl, basically. That just still bizarrely to me, like got iTunes Electronic Track of the Year in 2012.
Yeah.
I look back on those first pieces with like a lot of fondness because they were written in complete naivety. I find that unless I'm incredibly nervous about putting a piece of music out, it's going to be bad. Like you have to be terrified because that's like you're stepping somewhere new artistically then or creatively for you.
Hi, today I'm here with KIDNAP KID.
Hey.
So you were born in Sheffield, or?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Were your parents born there as well?
No, they were both in the UK, but all over. My dad in like the Lake District, and my mum in Cambridge, I think. But they moved all over and ended up in Sheffield, and I grew up there.
What brought them to Sheffield?
Actually, it was so there's great countryside near just outside of Sheffield, and my dad was really into rock climbing when he was my age. Yeah.
Damn.
And there's a place called Stannard Edge just outside of Sheffield, which is like this huge cliff face that's one of the best spots for rock climbing in the UK.
That's so nice.
So that's what he really wanted to live near there, and then he ended up settling and having kids. And
are you also like really adventurous then?
Not as much as he was. He was a bit of a he did some crazy adventurous stuff when he was. I really like that sort of thing, climbing, and I'm quite I like to do a lot of exercise, but I don't quite have the courage he had. I think like, he did some crazy things that I definitely don't want to do.
Yeah. What did he do like career-wise then?
Something completely unrelated. He does like consultancy type stuff, and it was never to do with like the outdoor world, but that was just his passion.
How about your mom then?
She's done all sorts. She's amazing. She ran a complementary medicine center, like alternative medicines in Sheffield. Like she was a homeopath and like had osteopathy and acupuncture and all that sort of stuff there. So she did that, and then she now is working at a university in London near me. She's got a job. Got a job there as like a senior lecturer. So,
Do you have that side of you as well, like into that sort of thing?
Yeah, kind of. Like because I was raised with it. Like you can't not really. That's the family line. So I got to stick to it. But I was raised on all alternative medicine. So like at my core, I'm inwardly a massive hippie. But I just don't show it.
How would you describe yourself like growing up?
That's a great question. I had a pretty carefree childhood, I'd say. It was like very, very happy time for me. Yeah, just like running around in the woods, climbing trees, building tree houses. Having a fairly wild time, and then at about 14, 15, discovered dance music and jungle, and then that very like characterized the next phase in my life. And from then onwards, my childhood was just devoted to like digesting as much dance music as I could, basically. Yeah.
What kind of music did your parents play when you were growing up?
Just like classic dad stuff, I think. Like Beatles was like the main one that was always on, and then like R.E.M. and Santana. He used to play a band called Yes, like a prog rock band. I think they were the first band he took me to see. So kind of like rocky stuff.
But your parents do instruments as well, right? Like guitar?
My mum is an amazingly talented musician. She's like grade 8 at multiple things, and she's really impressive. My dad plays a little bit, but not as much. He's quite a good guitarist. Yeah.
Did they make you do an instrument at a young age?
It was heavily encouraged, I think they really wanted to kind of they really encouraged creativity. Wow. We had a rule in my house, which at the time I was really unhappy about, but looking back, it's kind of given me what I have now, which was if I wanted to use any screen, like if I wanted to watch TV or go on a computer for an hour, before I could do that, I had to do an hour of something creative. So I had to like earn my TV time. So it would have to be like learning poetry or practicing an instrument or like anything, writing a story. It was like, so they were like, I had to do that before I could turn the TV on. So it was like, they ran a kind of creative boot camps basically.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that and apply that to my kids, I think, because
that's cool.
It's kind of given me a creative edge. So
yeah. What kind of subjects were you into back then?
Actually, probably my favorite was maths. I really liked maths at school. And yeah, I never really did like much music at school. That was always just a hobby for me. And what else? Other subjects did I like? Yeah, I quite like the sciences and maths, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did your parents push you academically?
Not really. I mean, they wanted me to do as well as I could with everything, and like encouraged me to go to university. But it was never like they didn't have any academic aspirations. They just wanted like. They were like super supportive of me being like, I want to do music, and like you know, indulging my creativity. They were like as good as I could have asked for in helping me kind of do that.
How did you find like a music initially? Did you have like music friends in high school?
I like played in bands in like used to do like battle of the bands at school.
Oh wow!
I played like.
Do you remember your first band name?
Oh my god, there was a few. I actually can't remember the first one. It's got to be this. I promise I'm not just like pretending I can't remember it. It's embarrassing. There was some embarrassing ones.
Is it online? Probably.
Maybe. Well, quite recently I got tagged in like a picture on Facebook that my friend had uploaded, and it was like the school magazine with a photo of us.
Oh my god!
We were in like year 8, so I would have been 13 or something, and I think I'm there with a bass guitar, like we look like I was about this big.
How do you describe that music that you were playing in bands?
It was all quite rocky stuff. I'd listen to things like Rage Against the Machine and those sort of bands at that age, so it was us trying to kind of imitate that, I guess.
Was that type of sound more common in Sheffield?
I guess so. I mean, it really varied from. I mean, I suppose it's quite there's been some like famous rock bands that have come out of there, like Def Leppard and Pulp, and more recently Arctic Monkeys. So it does have that music built into the city a little bit. But you know, it varied from friendship group to friendship group, I guess. But that was what I was listening to.
How did you first get more into the electronic stuff?
It all began really with my brother giving me a CD with some drum and bass on. That was the first time I'd heard anything electronic that connected with me, and then within a week it was like there was no going back. I was just obsessed with it. I think it just caught me at the right age. It was like 15, 14, got all that energy, and I was just like, I fell in love, and the next thing I was just doing was buying as many records as I could and learning to DJ and trying to write it, and it was just I've been on a warpath ever since then, basically, for like 10 years.
You also did a lot of was it like raves or something? You went to a lot of parties.
Yeah, that was the later half of my teens were very much focused on doing that. There'd be like parties in like the woods around Sheffield that they'd throw at the weekends, and get to know the people who run them, and end up helping out with all the sound systems, and end up DJing the parties, and that was kind of something we did for a few years a lot, and that really kind of, I don't know, it's exciting because there's like the transgressive aspect as tied in with the music. It was like, the police are going to come and shut us down, and when you're 17, that adds such an exciting element to loving the music as well. It's like, breaking the rules. So that was a really fun time. Was there one called like Valve that you went to? Yeah, that was what, like, they used to do that, I think, pretty much every year at this venue called the Octagon in Sheffield. Valve sound system. It's run by a man called Dillinger, who was one of my early heroes. And it's just a crazy sound system, when they used to get great lineups. I still got some hearing damage from those, I think. They were so loud. But you didn't you cycle so far to get to these? It made you spent so much of your effort to go to these raves. Yeah, they'd always be kind of out of the way, and you'd I remember I'd borrow my mum's bike because she had panniers on the back, so I could fit all my records in. And you'd cycle 10 miles with bags full of records, play the parties, sun would come up, and then cycle home. And I really look back on those times with such, I don't know, they were really my formative years, and I don't know, they were so cool. How do you think that whole phase made you the person that you are now? I kind of feel like, looking back, that I've paid my dance music dues in a way, because like, I don't know, it outwardly looks kind of like a very like amazing life, the life like of a DJ 2017 traveling the world, and it absolutely is. I love it, but I kind of feel like I have this, but I also spent 6 years cycling 10 miles to play a party for free, or for 2 beers, and then I like doing it just because I absolutely loved, that's what I wanted to do, and so I'm happy to have that in my back pocket as being like,
you made it. You put so much effort into it.
I really worked for this, and I believe this is what I wanted to do, and now I can be a little more comfortable in my successes and be like, great, I did it.
Yeah. How about like towards the end of high school? You were still like academic because you studied like crime and stuff in college, right?
Yeah, I did politics and crime at university. I got to the end of school, I was 18, and I was writing music, but it was like nowhere near good enough to start anything, and I just needed more time, so it's just like, I'm just going to go to university and basically stall for 3 years. So I just did something that seemed interesting, and it was a cool course. I liked it. But I mean, really, I'd do that, and then I'd rush home at the end of the day, and I'd just be in the evening just writing music. Damn. So it was just buying myself 3 years to get everything, practice my craft and all that.
So you would have gone to university yourself, even if your parents didn't need you to go?
Oh yeah, I mean they were encouraging, but I could have just not at all. I just wanted to do it. It's like part of the reason was a way to. I loved growing up in Sheffield, but at 18 you kind of want to not rebel a little bit, but you want something new and something fresh. And it was a really easy way to just get to a new city. And Leeds, where I went, had a really thriving music scene at the time. So it was basically just a vehicle to get out and get life moving and. I really enjoyed it still. What
about crime and politics that you really like?
I mean, I don't know. It was an interesting topic. Like, I did come away from it. Like, I'm quite politically engaged, but I came away from it feeling like, okay, I don't ever want to work in politics. Basically, I really enjoyed studying it, but I definitely learned that it was not the world for me. It was like. It's a tough world, so I did like it, but I was 3 years was enough, definitely. Were
you already into politics stuff in high school? Did you do debate team or?
I once or twice went to the debating club. I couldn't keep up, man. They had some sharper people there. But I used to enjoy watching it. Yeah, I was into it a little bit, but I was definitely less engaged than I became after studying it, because. That definitely got me more interested in the whole thing.
How about the crime part? Did you have did you know people who were studying that made you interested to study it? It's kind of like a random.
It is,
major, right?
No, I didn't really know. I'm not sure how I ended up doing it, to be honest. I think I just looked down the list of stuff you can do.
Picked one. Oh my god.
I think really in the back of my head I was like, really, I know I'm just going to be trying to write music this whole time. Yeah. So I didn't I chose it with a career in mind where I should do this. It's just how can I occupy 3 years with something that's going to be interesting and I just kind of looked down the list. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, that looks kind of fun, and it was great. So.
Did you think of studying music?
It crossed my mind, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to. I'm actually really glad I didn't. I mean, it's good to obviously have musical lessons, but I don't know. You kind of end up having to work on aspects of music that you might not be interested in, and I wanted to kind of keep all my musical energy to be fresh for writing my own stuff. It's if you're doing it all day working on projects that you're not too bothered about, and then you might not have the energy to do it. I don't know, there's different routes, but I just thought I would leave it.
How about when you were still in college, how far into your music career were you? Were you playing a lot of shows, getting your name out already?
I would try and play local shows, but just as the DJ, but not really based on my productions, but just through DJing skills, I guess. I was just starting to put music out in the last year of university, so there really wasn't much overlap. Yeah. I played my first handful of international shows in the last month of university, basically. Wow. It was that was just very much the beginning, and pretty much the month I left, I put out my first EP that kind of got out and got some recognition. So it was basically the whole time at uni was just prepping and writing lots of music and kind of just getting as good as I could, and then so it kind of as soon as that stopped, then the other one started.
Actually, how did you even decide to like hold up on putting music? Do you have like high standards that you wanted to be at a certain level before you even put anything out?
Not really. I mean, looking back, I would like to say that was the case because it would make me sound like I was better than I was, but I was just so keen to get stuff out. But I guess a good barrier is you have to have record labels to release it, and they're only going to release it once it's like of a certain standard. So.
Oh, was it like before the whole SoundCloud phase?
Oh yeah, I mean I'd throw bits and pieces up on SoundCloud, but to kind of like get it out on like official distributors and all that, you need like the label endorsement. So. It was only kind of once I was making music that they were interested in is where you can really get it out and about. I would put things on SoundCloud before and I'd get like, as part of the whole SoundCloud scene, and you get like, people liking you that way, but you were never really going to get like a load of gigs off that sort of thing. It was,
Did you have like a mentor earlier on? Or did you even have like people guiding you, music friends?
I mean, less like a mentor, more just like a crew. There was like, you know, hang around with people who were doing similar stuff to me. All the friends I lived with at uni were all like, we're all producing electronic stuff as well.
Are they still doing it now, or?
Yeah, bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
Not so much full time. But so that was like the basis of the friendship group, was we were all interested in that. And there was this one guy, Mike Bishop. I don't know if you're out there, Mike. I've not seen him in years, but hello. I owe him quite a lot, man. He was one of the first people who. He was a bit older than me, and he was running a record label, and he kind of took me under his wing and kind of believed in me, and so he was like the first kind of mentor type I had. And then there was another guy called Ollie who ran Black Butter Records, co-ran, and he was kind of a second big mentor for me. He told me to move down to London and like put me on his sofa and was you know, just write music, we need you here. And he was another person that encouraged me a lot. So I've had a few people over the years that have been really helpful.
How would you say you got like your first kind of big break out there? Like, did you send a lot of stuff to blogs, or how did you even get your name out initially?
I actually never sent anything to anyone. I'm one of the skills, or like blog-wise, sorry, I'd send it to record labels.
Okay.
One of the skills I'm completely lacking in is self-promotion. I'm really bad at it. The whole thing kicked off because just kind of out the blue, this track, it all began with this track called Vehl, basically. That just still bizarrely to me, like got iTunes Electronic Track of the Year in 2012. And before then I'd had like no following whatsoever. And
damn, so they just found you out of the blue? Because I remember like reading about that award.
I had no idea. I still don't know. Like, I was just luck. It must have just fallen into our laps and they liked it. It was kind of unique, I guess. There was like, it was a bit of a standout track even for me then. So, like, that was the point at which it was like all of a sudden people had heard about what I was doing and kind of started building some fans there. So yeah, that was kind of how it all began.
How do you think your music has changed since those first tracks that you put out in college?
I look back on those first pieces with like a lot of fondness, because they were written in complete naivety in a way, in that like I hadn't spent years like thinking about it. Wasn't writing it for anyone, like because no one's listening. I found it to be a very different experience writing now, with the kind of knowing that some people are going to hear it, and like there's certain expectations or like a standard you have to upkeep. But writing those in a kind of complete free way I was just writing them because they excited me, and so it's changed a little bit since then. I think it's all become a lot more considered, maybe to a fault. I think I'm like oversensitive with certain elements of it, and maybe less free. But also, I do think I've become more developed, like as a producer and as a writer, and you know, I've had years and years to sit at a piano and try and get good at it, basically. So it's changed in many ways. Some for better, some for worse.
Do you feel you're like less able to be vulnerable with the music you make?
Well, I mean, I really, really try to maintain that kind of vulnerability and like not kind of hide that aspect of it, because I think that's important, and that's what the emotional connection is in any music. But it's definitely something that has been challenging over the years, like working to maintain that and not just making safe stuff that you think, oh, people will think this will be cool, kind of like trying to break new ground constantly and like put yourself on the line a little bit. I find that unless I'm incredibly nervous about putting a piece of music out, it's going to be bad. Like
interesting.
you have to be terrified, because that's like you're stepping somewhere new artistically then, or creatively for you. And so without that like fear, I don't think it's a good, interesting piece of art. So.
After you graduated college, were you able to already do music full time, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, I was completely broke, but yes, I like lived on.
Did you have like jobs or?
No, I've never had a job, which has been kind of nice. I washed pots and that sort of stuff. Had a paper round, but I never did the job in between. But I was completely broke. I lived on the floor of my friend's kitchen in London when I first moved down there with no money, playing whatever gigs I could get, and like writing, and it's been a steady, happily upwards trajectory since then. But yeah, I managed to do it just fresh out of uni, and
Other than the iTunes thing, was there like a turning point where you're like, whoa, this is actually a career, like I got my own place, stuff like that?
No, it's been so gradual. It's like there's never been like, there's the occasional like marks that I'm like, oh damn, I got to play this festival. This was something I used to just like sit and dream of. So you get those moments of like, wow, this is cool. But there hasn't been like a huge specific moment for me really. It's just been chipping away over the years. And,
How do you think you've changed personally since when you started?
Oh damn. That's a difficult one. I like to think not too much. I guess the main thing is I've grown up. It's like I was 20, really putting the first pieces out, and I'm 26 now, so it's kind of a things. Whole career, the whole music thing aside, you're going to change as a person throughout that whole time. You mature a little bit. But I don't know. It's one I'll have to ask people around me, I guess. I like to think I've not changed too much. Yeah.
I feel like you're one of the first like people who put out like a lot of music on SoundCloud. How do you think like that whole thing has changed for you? Or like in general, the scene in general.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite lucky to coincide with that whole SoundCloud scene, and it was just there was such like a vibrant thing going on at that time, where it's just there was so much cool stuff like music being put up every week, and it was cool to be a part of that at the beginning. I mean, it's on its knees now, so like who knows? That whole kind of community is pretty much died, but things have a shelf life and they have to move on. And I mean, everything's a lot more regulated now with doing it through Spotify, which is going to kill some creative. I don't know, it's less free basically. So it's changed in that way. That was a negative, but the positive is I actually get some money from people listening to the music, because SoundCloud, wouldn't pay you a penny. I think they were meant to, but they never did. Whereas I actually get streaming royalties from Spotify. Not enough, but it's better than nothing.
Do you think SoundCloud's like a bubble? Do you ever, because I feel like I talked to some producers and I feel like SoundCloud is like a bubble, and it's like hard to break out of being like a SoundCloud artist, SoundCloud producer.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe. To be honest, I did actually consciously shift away. I was like, right, I'm just going to focus all my stuff on like Spotify and like get everyone listening over there. I've never really thought about that, to be honest. I didn't experience that difficulty personally, so I've not considered how that would be, but I can see you could get trapped in that world a little bit.
Last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh damn, this sounds too douchey, but like kind of fearless in putting yourself out there creatively, like I want to be remembered as being fearless. I guess about being honest in putting myself on the line creatively and being like, this music really does portray who I am as a person, and I'm not writing it because I want to like write cool stuff and have, I want to like see that I recorded parts of myself in the music, and like when people listen to it, they know who I am, and so kind of be fearless in that way and just put yourself on the line personally and creatively and be like, this is who I am, love it or leave it, that sort of thing, rather than like write a track because I think it's going to be cool.
That's
so kind
true.
of a vague ambition, I guess, but that's what I'm trying to achieve out of this whole thing.
I love that.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.